Hello, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're ready for one of my favorite poses. Feels super powerful and graceful and strong, but it is not an easy one, and it's dancer's pose or Shiva. Sorry, not Shiva Nataraja, but Natarajasana. So that means king dancer's pose, I guess, is a sort of a loose translation, and it's based on Shiva, who is the creator and destroyer of universes. And it's kind of based on him dancing on the burning remains of the universe, which is pretty powerful stuff. Sometimes there's a little demon underneath his foot. You might know the imagery of Shiva dancing when a ring of fire around him, and sometimes using different poses in the middle of that. So that's loosely what this pose is based on. So I kind of like to think of sometimes something that I want to burn down in my life. not not necessarily literally, usually metaphorically, something that I need to get rid of in my life before I go into dancer's pose. So I'll let you take a couple minutes or seconds to think of something that you need to get rid of. If you know dancer's pose, the grab of the foot is not available to you, then grab a strap and I can show you options for that. If it's the grab of the foot behind you is okay, then don't worry about it. Okay, have you got something to think of that you need to get rid of in your life? Cool. Close your eyes. And then for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And then continue breathing however feels best, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. With each exhale, maybe you can imagine your spine lengthening from the tailbone up to the crown of your head. And with each exhale, feel a gentle softening of your front body. So there's no gripping, there's no tension, there's just lift. And then with each inhale, imagine breathing in a little bit more power, a little bit more fire. And with each exhale, let the thing go that you need to get rid of in your life. Right? Maybe you imagine it burning. Maybe you imagine dancing on top of it while it's burning. Or maybe it's just a subtle release. So inhale. Find that power. Exhale. Let it go. A few more breaths like that. And on your next inhale, start to lift your chest up to the sky, wrap the shoulder blades toward each other. Exhale, round through the spine, pull through the shoulder blades. Inhale to lift through the heart, and exhale, round. So seated cat and cow, and these can be really fluid and unctuous. If you wish, they could be sharp and fiery, more like bellows. Just move how you need to move. Couple more breaths here. And on your next inhale, come back to center. Interlace your fingers. Flip your palms away and overhead. Now your elbows can be bent here. They don't need to be straight. If they're straight, just make sure that you're not crunching into your shoulders. Right, so shoulder blades down. And then lift nice and tall. Take a little side bend if you want to from side to side. You might draw circles here. You might do little twists. It's just about getting into the side body and the upper body a little bit before we get into Dancer's pose. Okay, release. Make your way to hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake or cat and cow for a few breaths, whatever you need. We just did seated cat and cow, so you might not need as much time here to get into the spine. And then come back to hands and knees. Little draw of belly button to spine here. Depending where you are on your mat, you might need to walk your hands forward or shuffle your knees back. But then on your inhale, shift your weight into your hands for your plank pose. So shoulders over wrists. You could stay here on your knees, or you could tuck the toes and lift the knees up off the earth. Now make sure you're not dipping through the spine, but you're also not piking the hips up. Right? So squeeze the bum. Squeeze the tops of the thighs. Draw your lower ribs up to the sky. Press the floor away from you. And then exhale, come all the way down to the earth. You can always come down to your knees. First, little wiggle of your hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, so much so you feel your kneecaps lift away. Send your tailbone to the back wall. Feel your belly button engage toward your spine. Shoulder blades on your back. Inhale, lift the heart forward and up. Baby cobra. Exhale, lower back down. A couple more of those. Inhale to lift back. The neck stays long rather than lifting the chin. Exhale down. Hands could hover or press out onto the off the mat. Go wherever you need to go. And the next time you come down, take a little break. One cheek to the floor. Little deep breaths to release through the lumbar spine. And then come back to center. A little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Wrap the shoulder blades onto your back, and then kick your right heel to your bum. Pause here. And then reach your left arm forward. Your palm could stay flat on the floor, fingers spread wide, or you could come up onto your fingertips. Wherever you are, wrap your shoulder back and down. Here you might reach back with your right hand. Maybe there's a grab of the foot. Now this is where one place where if you don't have a grab of the foot, you could loop the strap around the foot and then use your hand on the strap so that you essentially just give yourself a longer arm. And then wherever you are, hug your legs toward each other, squeeze the bum. I want you to hug that right heel in toward your bum as much as you can. And then think of pressing the top of that right pelvis into the floor so you might feel the right knee lift up a little bit. If you grab the inside of the foot, it's impossible for that shoulder to kind of lose that space. So wrap the right shoulder onto your back. Okay, so you should be feeling maybe a bit of a quadricep stretch here, top of the thigh on that right leg. If you're not getting much of anything, then you might start to come into half bow instead, in which case kick the right foot away from you, really squeeze the bum, lifting up. The left foot stays pressing into the floor, the left fingertips into the floor, back of the neck stays long. This is essentially dancer's pose, but you're on your belly. And then exhale, release down, release your leg. Maybe you take a reverse windshield wiper of your legs or deep belly breaths to release through the low back. And then let's switch sides. So right leg extends behind you, top of the foot presses into the earth. Right arm reaches forward. You might be on your palm or your fingertips. And then kick your left heel to your bum. Maybe you loop the strap around your foot, or maybe you're able to reach back with the left hand for the grab of the foot. Make sure that left shoulder wraps onto the back. And then hug the legs toward each other. Hug the heel into the bum a little bit more. Press the top of the hip into the floor. And then you might feel the left knee lift up a little bit more. Make sure it's not splaying out to the side though. Option to stay here, or maybe you kick the left foot away from you to come up into half bow, right? Using the kick of the hand back to lift the torso up, and the pulling back with the hand on the foot to lift the thigh up. And then slowly release down, bend your knees, take a little reverse windshield wiper of those legs. And then plant your hands, press yourself up to hands and knees. Take a little wiggle or cat and cow here. And I'm going to turn to face you. Let me just grab all my stuff. And then if you were going to use a little bit of padding, now's a good time to bring it underneath your left knee. And then on your inhale, step or sweep the right foot forward. All right, back out of the hips. Hug the legs toward each other. Really squeeze the bum on the back leg. Belly bend to spine. Shoulder blades on your back. Maintaining all those activations. Whew, I'm falling over. Then shift into the front knee. So what we're trying to get into is the hip flexors on the back leg, because dancer's pose is all about standing stability, hip flexors and quadricep opener, shoulder and chest opener, and well, there's probably other stuff going on too, but there's a lot going on, right? So really squeeze the bum on the back leg. Make sure you're not leaning forward. You might press your palms forward to send your torso back, getting even more into those hip flexors. And if you're wobbly, think of grounding the front heel just a little bit more. And then inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Maybe flip the palm skyward, grab hold of the left wrist, lift tall, exhale, a little side bend over to the right. So getting into the side body a little bit deeper now into those hip flexors too. And then inhale back to center, counter stretch, exhale, shift the hips back, extend through your front leg for half splits. Hands could be on hips or a wall if you have it next nearby, or blocks on the floor. Wherever you are, wrap the outer left hip forward, draw the outer right hip back, flare the toes on the front foot, and peel them back toward your face a little bit more, getting into the calf muscles as well as the hamstrings. And then make sure this knee isn't locked out, right? Make sure it's micro bent or even deeply bent, right? Particularly if your stability is off, you can bend your knee a little bit more so you can bring your fingertips to the floor if you don't have blocks. All right, last couple breaths here. And then inhale, rock forward into that front knee, plant your hands, bring that right knee underneath you. Little wiggle or shake or cat and cow. And then let's switch sides. So again, if you're going to use padding under your knee, bring it underneath the right knee, and then step or sweep the left foot forward. Back out of the hips, hug the legs toward each other, squeeze the bum, tall posture, maintain all those activations as you start to shift into the front knee. Right, really squeeze your bum on the back leg. It's going to press the hips forward, and you might press your palms forward on your side to send your torso back. Right, so long as you don't go into the sort of mad scientist kind of thing. Belly bend to spine. And again, if it's wobbly, ground the front heel a little bit more. I don't know about you, but I'm really feeling it on this side today. Maybe the other side felt more intense or more interesting. Pretty normal for them to be different. A few more breaths here. All right, and then inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky, flip the palms skyward. Maybe you grab hold of the right wrist, lift tall. Exhale, a little side bend over to the left. And then back to center. Shift your hips back as you extend through the front leg for your half splits. Again, hands can be on hips, wall, blocks, floor, whatever you've got, so that you can be stable and you're not just pressing that leg open. Wrap the outer right hip forward, draw the outer left hip back, flare the toes on the front foot, and peel them back toward your face even more. A few more breaths here. All right, slowly rock forward again into your front foot. I'm going to turn. And then step to the top edge of your mat this time. Standing forward fold. You could bring your hands to blocks or rest your elbows on your thighs. You could clasp opposite elbows with hands, or even interlace your hands behind your neck or head. Getting more traction through the spine if you wish. You could sway a little bit from side to side. Go wherever you need to go. All right, and if your arms are bound, release them. Bring your fingertips to your shins. Inhale a little part way left. Exhale, let it go. Couple more. Back at the neck, stay as long as you lift up. And then bend your knees. Glue your chin to your chest. And slowly start to roll up to standing, one vertebra at a time, till eventually you roll the way up. Take a couple loops of your shoulders up, back, and down. A little wiggle, noodle, or bounce. And then let's take a little sway from side to side. Hands on hips, bend the knees, a couple hip circles one direction. And then the other. All right, so we've released through the muscles that we're going to be opening a little bit. Let's work the standing stability a little bit, right? So if we prep all of these individual pieces, it makes it more attainable in the end for Dancer's Pose. And, dare I say, even a little bit more badass. So send your weight to your right foot. A little buoyancy on that supporting knee, right? And then you might come to the toes on the left foot, or even pick up the left leg and take a few pulses of the supporting leg, right? So the toes on the floor gives you that grace of stability, right? So that you don't have to fight it. Kick your heel to the bum, lean forward, keep the pulses going. Toes could be on the earth behind you. And then slowly bring that left knee forward again. Inhale here, right arm comes forward, opposite arm to leg. And then exhale, start to reach the left leg back as the left arm comes forward. Bend the supporting knee. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, bend the knee and reach. Couple more of these on your own time. Whoa, on your own breath. And it can be wobbly. It can be shaky. When we're just trying to get into the stability, right? Those stabilizers on the supporting leg. Couple more here. I know it's getting fiery. Good old lactic acid. All right. And then step the left leg down. Shake out the right leg. Give a little release to those glutes. And then we'll switch sides. So we go to the left foot. Again, belly button to spine. Maybe the right toes are on the floor or the right leg is picked up. And then take those pulses of the supporting leg. Kick the heel of the bum, lean forward, keep the pulses going. Again, toes can be on the earth. I'd rather you get the pulses than really fight for the stability, if you know what I mean, right? If you just keep falling out, give yourself that little bit of extra stability. Okay, bring the right knee forward again. Whew. Pause here, bring the left arm forward, inhale here. Exhale, reach the right leg back. Right arm reaches forward. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, reach. Each time the leg reaches back, bend the supporting knee. Couple more. Right, for me, this side's feeling super wobbly today. So I'm glad that I'm firing it up. Let's do one more here. And then step your right foot down. Shake out that left leg. Give a little release to it. Maybe hands on hips. A couple hip circles one direction. And then the other. Alrighty, here we go. We're going to do 2 rounds of Dancer's Pose. Right, left, right, left. I'm going to set you up with the strap if you want the strap. So I get it. Sometimes this doesn't work with the hand. Maybe you got something going on with your knee. Maybe you're super tight through the quads. So one thing that you can do is set yourself up with what's called like a Roman sandal. I know it's a little bit weird. So you wrap the strap around the back of the heel. Right? Take both parts of the strap between your big toes. It's kind of like you're making a flip-flop. And then Hey, there you go. A grab of the foot. And then you can go wherever you want to, lifting it up. So if you want to use that Roman sandal, feel free to use the strap and the Roman sandal. Feel free to find a hand on the wall. Find a hand. Bring your hand to the wall if you need a little bit more stability. Send your weight to that right foot. So back to the right leg. Kick your left heel to the bum. Another way that you can get into this is to bring the foot forward and grab it and then bring it back. And then sometimes that makes it a lot more accessible as well. Hug your legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum, belly button to spine, shoulder blades on your back. Now this leg that's folded, I want the kneecap to go down rather than out to the side. Right, press the hips forward, and then you can counterbalance with the right arm. So this might be where you want to stay, particularly if, like when we're on the floor, you're getting a lot of sensation through the quadriceps. Otherwise, if you would like to, this time, a little buoyancy on the knee, tip forward, but keep the heel into the bum, keep the hips square. And so this is one variation of Natarajasana. You might grab the inside edge of the foot, more of a sort of hot yoga variation. Really helps open through the shoulders or the chest. Whew. All right, and then really shake it out. And then let's try that to the opposite side. If you're using the strap, set it up on the other foot. If you're using a wall, grab the wall with the same hand as the supporting leg. And then either sweep or kick the right heel to the bum. Hug the legs toward each other. Little buoyancy on that knee. Squeeze the bum, belly button to spine. Hips press forward. Kneecap goes down. Shoulder back. And then if you don't have a wall, counterbalance with that left hand. Right, again, if you're getting a lot of sensation through the quads, then stay here. Otherwise, a little micro bend in that knee. Maybe you start to tip forward. Keep the heel hugging into the bum though for this first variation. Lift through the chest. Again, if you want to grab the inside of the foot, you may. Maybe tip forward a little bit more. Keep hugging the heel into the bum though. And then windmill yourself back up. Shake it out. Again, if you're using a wall, switch. If you're using the strap, switch it up. Second round. This time, we've got an extra option on the end. I'm going to turn to the side so I don't kick my bookshelf down. So send the weight to the right foot. Lots of options along the way, right? Hug the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum. Maybe you counterbalance with that right arm. Maybe it's on the wall. This might be where you stay. Maybe a little bend in the knee, you tip forward, keep the hips square, or maybe you start to kick that left foot away from you, opening the hips up a little bit more, and then squeeze the bum so you don't crank into the low back. And then stay longer if you want to, otherwise fall out of it. Give yourself a couple more breaths if you're there, and then shake it out. And then we'll switch to the opposite side. One last time, weight to your left foot. Hug everything into the center. Bring your right heel to your bum, right? Kneecap down. Maybe you counterbalance. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you start to tip forward, keeping the heel in the bum, or maybe you start to kick the foot away from you, really squeezing the bum as you lift the leg up, back behind you. Couple more breaths. If you fall out, don't worry about it. Meet me back in it. And then when you're done, shake it out. Take a little twist from side to side. And then a couple breaths in the center. Maybe you close your eyes. Let go of any last of those little burning embers that you need to get rid of. And then flicker your eyelids open. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. For 3 breaths, inhale, a little partway lift. Exhale, fold. 2 more. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to your plank pose, and then exhale, lower all the way down to the earth. From here, roll over onto your back. And then draw your knees into your chest. Take a little rock from side to side. So let's set up for a twist, just to help release a little bit of tension. So right arm out to the side. You might shift your hips right a little bit to start with. And then exhale, lower your knees to the left. You can take any variation of twist that you want to, whether the knees are stacked, or a single leg twist, or cross leg. You could bring a block underneath your knees or between your thighs. Maybe you look along your right arm just to finish the spiral off in the neck. You got a lot of extension through the spine in dancer's pose today, so it's nice to get a bit of rotation. Get as much flexion, but that's okay. All right. On your inhale, return to center. Reset your pelvis and your spine. Maybe you shift the hips left. Left arm goes out to the side. And exhale, lower your knees to the right. And again, it can be any variation of twist. It doesn't have to be the same one on this side that you did on the first. You might look along the left arm to finish off the spiral in your neck. Last breath here. Inhale, return to center. Reset your pelvis and your spine, and then draw your knees toward you. Take them wide out toward your shoulders or armpits. This is a really great way to help neutralize the spine, particularly if, despite our best intentions, sometimes we dump into the lower back in dancer's pose. You might stay here for your happy baby, or you might kick your feet up to the sky. You can grab the backs of the thighs or anywhere along your legs, your ankles, or your feet. You could rock a little bit from side to side. You could extend one leg or the other. But notice if you're kind of rounding through the spine and the tailbone's lifting up to the floor, can you think of sending it to the foot edge of your mat? Just finding that little bit of lengthening through the spine, maybe even a tiny lift of the low back away from the floor. It might not actually lift away from the floor, but it's not pressing down into it. All right, and then release your legs if there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest. Please feel free to take it, posture or meditation. You might then start to set up for your rest. I recommend bringing blocks or pillows behind your legs. Just gives that low back, again, a little bit of release. This feels so nice. I call it yoga lazy boy. You could rest on your side or in child's pose or a seated meditation. And there's no rush to get there. But once you have found your pose of rest, for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And then let go of your breath control. Return to your natural breath, slow and sweet. Let go of any last muscle gripping or tension, particularly in your neck or your jaw. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. And then take a moment to thank yourself for coming to your practice today and for maybe burning through something in your life that you don't need anymore, dancing upon the remains of it joyfully. And then let that go as well and bring your focus back to your breath. Stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.